Hey, good morning. This is Tech Mornings with the Tech Prepper, episode 4. And today we're going to install Peregrine CMS geared towards Java developers. And what we're planning on doing is checking out both Peregrine CMS and also Theme Clean Flex. And we'll be using a couple of branches since we're still in a state where we haven't merged the current work into our main develop branch yet. So to start, let's go ahead and open up a terminal and navigate to a temporary workspace, the Tech Prepper workspace, and I will create a new directory for this one called episode 4. Looks like a good name, and we'll move into that directory. Next, we're going to go ahead and clone the Peregrine CMS repository. Okay, now that we've cloned the project, all we need to do is move into Peregrine CMS, and we need to check out the Issues 93 branch. And this is the branch with the content restructuring changes. Now that we've done that, it's fairly straightforward to actually run Apache Sling directly from here. While it's not great practice, we have included a binary version of our custom version of Sling 9. And for anybody interested in the comments, I can walk through in a future video on how we build a custom version of Sling 9 with everything we need to build Peregrine on top. So don't forget to put a comment if that's something you're interested in discussing. All right, so pretty straightforward. Within Peregrine CMS, there is a resources folder, and there is our version of Sling 9 Launchpad. So all we're going to do is run it from Java with the -jar command. So for those of you familiar with AEM, this is pretty much the CRX quick start. And it will be listening on port 8080. All right, the next thing we're going to do is deploy the current build of Peregrine to our Sling 9 instance. And there are two ways of doing this, but since this is geared around Java developers, we're going to use the Maven way. So Maven, clean install, and then we'll use the auto install package profile. And by default, this will assume that you're deploying to localhost and port 80. There are other Java-G options we can pass to change the host and port. And this takes about 2.5 minutes on my 2015 MacBook Pro, maybe a little bit longer now that I'm also recording the screen. And while that's running, I should also mention you can also do the same deployment from the root directory of Peregrine CMS using perkly compile-d, and it'll look for the nearest POM file and pretty much go through a very similar deployment as straight Maven. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kill this window since we're not going to use the perkly compile D route. We'll use Maven. And I'll stop the video because this will take about 2 to 3 minutes on my machine. Next, let's go ahead and quickly just double check that at least Sling 9 plus Peregrine has been deployed. And we'll open a browser and go to localhost 8080. And the first thing you'll notice is that since the last time you saw this demo, we have a new login screen. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to go ahead and return to that in a moment. The next thing we're going to do is move up one level, and we need to go ahead and clone Theme Clean Flex. And the branch that we're going to be using for Theme Clean Flex is Feature Content Restructure Blog. There's also one called Restructure. The blog one, for some reason, has the code that we're experimenting with that has the skeleton templates or the skeleton pages, and I'd like to walk you through that because it's very powerful, at least for the use case that I need it to work. All right, and then we'll move into, actually, we won't move in. We'll go ahead and rerun the same Maven command. So Maven clean install, auto install package, and this will install Theme Clean Flex. This is the project that essentially has all of the out-of-the-box components. Now that that's ready, let's go ahead and log into Peregrine CMS with the username admin and the password admin. If I don't forget, I will absolutely do a video on how to change the admin password. And to start, we're going to do a very quick demo. I'm not going to go as deep as I did last time, and we're going to start by creating a new website, and we will use the Theme Clean Flex theme. I will use warm tones, and we will call our site the Tech Prepper. And once this is done, we should be able to go into Pages and see a new set of nodes within our site. Alright, so let's go into Pages. And the piece that I want to call out is skeleton pages. And the way this works is we will go into the folder, don't click on the actual page itself. And there are a couple of skeleton pages already created. I won't go over these. And instead, I want to create a new skeleton page for my videos. And to start, I will use the root template, but you can pick any one as a starting point. Or you can also extend from another skeleton page. So for my use case, I want to create a video skeleton page. So I'll start with the root template. And I'm just going to call this one, I guess, video. It's going to be a video detail page. And at this point, I can start dragging and dropping items on the page. And for the site that I want to build to have a companion page for my videos, I'm going to need an H1 title. I probably would like to have a breadcrumb underneath and a rich text component for some intro material. And I'm pretty certain that I'm going to do a 2-column view, so I'm going to need a container block underneath that. And for desktop at least, I want to have 2 containers, each taking 6 columns. So I will drop a container, and I need to manage the container to allow it to take half of the columns for desktop. Let's do 6, yep, that's 6. And then I will add another container. And I still think the nomenclature is reversed, so again, feel free to comment below if you actually want to have these changed. And then in terms of content, I do want to have the media component for video available to me on the left-hand side here. And I do want to have rich text on the right section of that set of columns. And for me, if I have this as a starting page, I think it gives me enough to quickly go and manage the content. So at this point, I'll go back to Pages, and I'll move up. I don't want to be in the skeleton pages anymore. I'll go to Pages here, and I'm going to create a new page. And you'll notice now that we have video as a skeleton page. And then just for demonstration, I'm going to use one of the videos I had created yesterday. And I'm not going to worry about this URL structure yet that will be generated. I'll clean that up later. And as you can see here, we have all of the boilerplate material to start our editing. So I can go ahead now and change out the H1. In a perfect world, this heading should have an option to dynamically pull the value of the page, but that can be a future enhancement. I'll talk briefly about how the breadcrumb works in another video. Right now it's pulling the actual node name instead, which is not ideal for my use case. And let's go ahead and pull some content here, drop it in. Okay. Save that. And then we'll change out the video ID. You get this from my clipboard real quick. comment. And oops, yep, let's save the page edit. And I'm going to add some more copy here. And I think for this run, all I'm going to do is put the steps. And there's some formatting issues because I am pulling this out of some notes on top, so there should be like some odd font backgrounds that are happening here. But in general, if we go ahead now and preview this, we actually have a fairly decent looking page, obviously without header and footer, but you can see right now my ability to create another video page daily is a pretty quick process. I can actually now work off of the skeleton page. There were a few other issues that have been fixed since the last video. I don't have time to go over those now, just to keep these videos short, but we did receive some good comments the last few days in terms of videos people would like to see. Obviously, my goal is to get my site live by next week, but I'm happy to start building a backlog of Peregrine videos. I think the video that I'm going to be doing next, now that this is in a more stable spot for me to start building out content for my site, is I'm probably going to do a quick deep dive into Google Cloud Platform, set up an account, spin up a Google Kubernetes engine cluster, and then go ahead and do a Helm deployment of the stack, and it'll basically do a deployment of the Peregrine Docker container and then 2 Apache instances. So I think I'm going to do that as the next video to get me live, and then we'll talk about and probably decompose all of those things, because I know not everybody is familiar with Kubernetes, Google's Cloud Platform, Helm. But again, the goal of these videos was for me to get my site live, but also help the community by documenting my journey through this process. So be strong, be safe, and think about experimenting with Peregrine using Java. Thanks, guys.